The Queen of Granada, by M. Riff. Chapter 63, The Psychiatrist. In his olive-green Mercedes convertible, the Soap King drove her along the French Mediterranean coast, crossed into Spain and continued to Almunkar, and then towards Granada. As they approached Granada, they showcased the Alhambra and the city, familiar to many viewers from tourist brochures. They drove through the narrow, winding streets until they reached the medicine woman's address, where she welcomed them inside. Dressed in traditional Roma attire, a long black dress with layers, she embodied the image of a typical medicine woman. She held a traditional Andalusian fan in front of the lower part of her face. The camera focused on the garden's central stone basin and the vines covering the sky above, shielding them from the intense sunlight. They walked through the hall and followed the medicine woman into a dimly lit place, her consultation room. The psychiatrist, the director, and the cameraman looked for the expected symbols on the walls, which should emphasize spiritualism, but found none. They started filming the Soap King's wife and the medicine woman, seated on cushions, eyes closed, and seemingly practicing meditation. They both appeared to enter a trance-like state, their foreheads glistening with sweat. The cameraman focused on subtle peck marks in the arched ceiling to emphasize that the house was carved into limestone, providing excellent insulation. Therefore, despite the high temperature outside, the room was cool. The wife and medicine woman were in this trance state for over an hour. Then suddenly they opened their eyes simultaneously. Both were pale and exhausted and needed a moment to regain their strength. The camera zoomed in on the wife's face as the medicine woman asked in a calm tone, "How are you now?" The woman smiled and replied, "I feel so relieved, like I'm sitting on a cloud and floating above my problems instead of drowning in them." The psychiatrist then stepped in front of the camera, saying, "Dear viewers, if any of you have undergone treatment for depression with medication, you've probably been told to wait 4 to 6 weeks for the effect. You know me well, and I'm all about science. I must admit, I haven't seen anything truly convincing here. While we can all experience a sense of relief and relaxation during a trance, I seriously doubt its effectiveness against depression. We'll visit our patient weekly for the next 8 weeks, and then you can see for yourselves if this theatrical approach has any value at all."